Hi, I'm Penny Hill with EFT Tapping for Stress Relief. I wanted to share a personal story of mine that happened just last week about how to use tapping to get over a rather infuriating experience. So I was recently very excited to be asked to participate in a panel about dealing with stress and health-related topics. And so I was like, yay, that's my field. So this was actually at the end or in December. And so they asked for short bios. So I put something together and sent it off. Well, it came about, I don't know, some weeks ago, and I opened the flyer and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. I must have been, it was just before Christmas, I must have been just so overwhelmed or rushed because what I read was quite frankly awful. And I was like, oh, shoot. Oh, so I took it all on me. Well, early last week, I was going through some old emails and I found the bio that I had sent in. And I realized that I hadn't screwed it up. The editor had screwed it up. So what I had sent in had been reworded. It had been greatly reduced. And words were put in that don't reflect what I do professionally. And my professional licensure, my status as a professional, had been edited out. And the pronoun switched from she to I to she to I. So it read terribly. It doesn't reflect what I do. And all of that, of course, no one reading it understands that it wasn't what I wrote. So it reflects pretty poorly on me. So I was pretty darn furious. And then I got more angry because a friend of mine, who is also a massage therapist, has also been asked to be on this panel. And in the end, his bio was twice as long as mine. Now, the one I had submitted had been a little bit shorter than his, but not by half. So I was feeling even more furious about this. And I really felt that this had to be a case of unconscious, to put it charitably, I'm sure, gender bias. Otherwise, why would this have happened? This was more than just missing a pronoun. So I was really angry. I felt this in my stomach. I felt it very strongly. I would have given it an 8 on a scale of 1 is very little, 10 is the most. So what did I do? I used my tapping. So I started tapping on the sensation in my stomach. I started tapping on the burning sensation. I tapped on all of the qualities of this sensation in my body. And when that started to calm down a little bit, I understood that these reactions were based on some old paradigms of feeling inadequate, of not comparing well to others, that everyone else knows more than I do or is more professional, or we call it imposter syndrome. So I tapped on those. Those are old ways of thinking that apparently there's still a little bit of them left. So I tapped on the roots, even though I feel like I don't compare well to other people, and especially to this friend. Otherwise, why would they have done this to me? So I tapped on all of this old stuff, all these old stories that are not true and certainly are not serving me well now. So I was still being pretty feeling pretty angry and upset, but it was dinner time, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to go eat dinner, and then I'm going to finish tapping this out later. But I came up and I had some dinner, and I had a couple of things that I had to do before I sat down to dinner. So I was up and down the stairs and up and down the hall. So I was physically active. And those two things gave my nervous system enough time to reset. And by the time I was done with dinner, I was pretty much done with being angry about this email and what had happened. But I wasn't done taking action yet. So I went down and I wrote an email. I wrote very specifically, this is what I sent, this is what you printed, this is how many words I sent, this is how many words you printed, here are the places where the pronoun changes back and forth, and here's the comparison to my friend's bio, and I had word counts, I had it all laid out. So it wasn't just my feeling, there was actual proof that something untowards and diminishing of me and my status as a licensed professional had happened. So I sat on that for a day, and then I sent it off. And as soon as I sent it off, I had all of this anxiety come up again, because now I have confronted someone. I have sent this off to the authority, to the person in charge, and what are they going to say? And maybe they're going to just kick me off the panel, or, I don't like conflict, and I don't like being the person to say harsh things and judgmental things to other people. So I got to tap on all of that. So even though now I have sent this email off and I'm feeling all this anxiety about it, I accept myself. So I got to tap through all of that. Then the next day, the response came, and I put off looking at the email because I just didn't want to know. So I tapped on that a little bit, even though I'm still anxious about this, and I want to avoid opening the email. I'm okay. Whatever it says, I'll be okay. And when I opened it up, it was very conciliatory and gracious. She acknowledged that a lot of my points were very valid, and that she had not supervised the person who was doing the editing as closely as she should have, and that she would do in the future. This is her first time doing such a big event, and she apologized. So that is how, and the other thing, that I learned once I tapped down my anger and frustration and all of that other stuff, and what I did was I learned from my friend's bio, and I'm going to write a much better one next time. I think what I wrote was fine, but it could have been better, and the next time it will be. So this is how you use tapping in real life. When things come up, you tap on your feelings, tap on any similar feelings or events that those similar feelings, that was a very convoluted sentence, I'm sorry. So you tap on the feelings. Then if there was an event when you remember having those feelings before, you tap on that event. And if as far back as you can go back to perhaps the first time, if you can, of feeling that way. Tap on that event. Then every time, my anger about this happening to me was one aspect of this whole sequence. Then my fear about confronting this person was another aspect of this. So as you keep going through, there may be different levels and different aspects that come up at different times that you want to address with tapping. And because I tapped, because I got the stress and the turmoil tamped down, not tamped down, released. It's gone from my system. It allowed me to have a clearer thought about what had happened and how I could improve my writing in the future. Now, I can't control editors. I'm often very bristly about being edited. But the better I get at writing, the less editing errors happen. Because I write regularly. So, and I'm published regularly too. So this is how you can use tapping on a regular basis for things that come up. And the benefits are not only do you have less anger and frustration, but you can think more clearly and respond cogently, calmly. Generally, you get better feedback, so you're not just screaming at people, calling them names. And you also can learn whatever you might have to learn from the experience. So there you go. How I use tapping in my life recently. It's a great benefit, as I always do. And also, as I always do, I wish you a joyful heart, be well, and if I can help you learn to use tapping in your life and in your, to improve your health, I would love to do it. All right, take care. Bye-bye.